Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Neighbours. Today we have Ava on the show.
Thank you for having me.
What's your full name?
Ava Jasmine Didier is my full name.
Okay, perfect. I was saying before this, I try to avoid saying full names because I'm terrible at pronouncing them. So welcome to the show. And so let's just kick off. Quick introduction, who you are and what you're up to.
I'm Ava. I'm a 17-year-old artist, and I'm actually the owner of my own business now that I officially launched this year called Ava Jasmine Artistry, where I sell art, I do exhibitions, things like that.
I love it. And what was kind of the journey getting into art first? Maybe even when, not the business side of it, but, I like art. What was that journey like? Where did it all begin?
Well, growing up, my dad was a music producer, my mom was a teacher, but she's very creative. So I've always kind of been surrounded by art. But I originally started off dancing from when I was 6 to maybe 10. Then I switched to Taekwondo and more sports. And then I used to sing also. But I feel like once I hit my teenage years, I became less super extroverted and more kind of more of an observer. So I found that art is the one medium where I can express myself and I can create beautiful things, but without having to really speak or be the main center of attention. So that's kind of how I stuck to art.
Yeah, I like that being an observer of it,
yeah.
and then being able to express yourself in this type of medium.
Yes.
I have here Winged Canvas Art School.
Yes. Okay. So originally my first kind of intensive art lessons came from actually a summer camp that my parents put me in. I think I was about 11 or 12, and it was at Winged Canvas Art School, and I really loved it. And I feel from there, my love for art kind of deepened. So I started going to classes. I think it was once a week in my elementary years, grades 6, 7, 8, I think. And then from there, actually, there's a high school that I go to called Unionville High School, which is they have an art intensive program. So I was really interested in that. So I use these canvas, the classes at Winged Canvas, and my mentor, Faye, she helped me to get into that school, my portfolio. So from there, I kind of switched from those outside of school classes to the in high school learning.
So that, okay, I see. So then when you went into high school, you're okay, I'm going to art-focused
Yes.
program within the high school.
Yes.
Myself, I went to Newmarket High and I went for sports programs. I went specifically to Newmarket High for the sports program. It sounds like it was similar for you,
Yeah.
but for the arts program of
Yes.
it. So then when you got into high school with the arts program, I'm sure that was exciting, first of all, to get ed. What was some of the early classes like, or the experience now that you're doing it a lot more now because it's your day-to-day in school now?
Yeah. So when I first started, it was more mastering our concepts or learning new concepts. We did a lot of still lifes where we would have objects in front of us and we would sketch it, make sure to get the shading, the perspective right. We did a lot of that. And I feel as I went to grade 9 to grade 12, the assignments became less kind of technical based and more creative expression based. Because in grade, I feel 9 and 10 was more getting the basics down, mastering our craft. And then grade 11 and 12 is now you can do the art, you can do it well. What are you going to make out of it? So it's kind of self-led, and I really like that.
Yeah, it's building the foundation first of, this is the technique, this is how you do it.
Yes.
Now you have the skill set. It's what do you want to do with it? What's the creative expression of that? So touching on the creative expression of it, where did you take it? What was the role? And I'm sure it has continued to evolve and will continue to evolve, but once you got permission to take it where you wanted to, how did you think about it? How did you get there?
Most of my art, actually all of my art, kind of draws from parts of me or experiences that I've went through. So I feel grade 11, it was more extremely personal art to me as a teenager, navigating the world, finding myself, challenges, things like that. And then in grade 12 till now, I kind of branched off using my art as a way to find myself And I incorporate a lot of aspects of like spirituality because our family is very spiritual, and like African culture, Caribbean culture, things like that. So I feel like most of my assignments for school and outside of school are mostly surrounded by like my culture and just me as I grow up in the world.
Yeah, I love it. So you turned it into a business. When did that come? So I'm following the journey now into this, take it up a level, go into high school for that program of it, dial in your skills, start to find your creative expression of it. What was maybe the turning point or the thought process of, oh, maybe this is a career for me. Let's turn this into a business. What's that evolution like?
I actually have like one main turning point that I remember and I will never forget. I think I was like maybe 13, 14, and I loved art a lot, but everyone always tells you like, what can you really do with art? Like, how are you going to make money to support yourself? So I was telling my dad, like, that's how I felt. Like, I didn't know how I would make a living off art. And he just told me, like, look around. Like, everything that you see, like the chairs we're sitting in, the room we're in, had to be designed from somebody's concept. So somebody, like a creative person, found a problem and solved the problem with art and with creative expression. And art is essentially all around us, so it's not going to be very hard to be able to do something you're passionate about and also make that a living. So from that point on, I kind of put all my focus into art and then created a business out of it.
Who created the logo? I love the logo.
It's actually my art signature that I made when I was like younger. Like, I just turned the A's into stars because my name is AVA, so each A is a star, and I actually have it on my necklace.
Nice.
So it became kind of like my tag, but it's just my art signature.
I love that. It's the first thing I noticed when I went to the website. So let's just talk quick about the trendsetters.
Yes.
The Divine Feminine. Speak on that. How did that come about? Thought process behind it?
Okay, so Trendsetters of the Divine Feminine is a collection. I think I'm going to make it a bigger collection and make it 3 parts. So this will be the first part. And for this collection, I kind of just wanted to put light on the strength and the courage of being a woman and also incorporate aspects of my culture and spirituality into it. So since I do a lot of art from like that stems from myself and how my brain's working and how I feel, I wanted to make like an just empowering piece of art. And I also found that like media often shines light on art surrounding Black culture, but it always has an emphasis on like struggle and pain and things like that from what I've seen. So I kind of wanted to flip that narrative and just like create beautiful pieces of art that showcase my culture and empower.
So what was the showcase that you were just at? I know that Lynette met you there maybe.
Yes.
So talk about what that showcase was, how that came about, and we just bought a piece, so it's going to be hanging up in our office now.
Yes.
So talk about what that was.
So it was my first exhibition ever, actually, and it was with NACA, Newmarket African Caribbean Canadian Association, and it was to kick off Black History Month, so it was the Saturday of February 1st. And I actually found out about the event through my friend who knew I did art. She sent it to me on Instagram, and it's like you could submit pieces, and they would review the pieces and see if they wanted to have them up in the exhibition. So I submitted one of my pieces, actually. Then they accepted it, and then they asked me to submit 2 more. So that's how my art got into the exhibition. And then on the day, it was like kind of a ceremony to just open Black History Month. There was like dancing, food, poetry, things like that. And they announced a finalist for like each of the categories, and for the young adult category, I was actually the finalist. So I got to go upstage, collect my check, and then that's kind of how it all started. And from there, I think I was getting like a lot. This was my first kind of major event, so I was talking to a lot of people, making connections there, and that's how I connected with Lynette and found here.
Love it. And, you know, with this collection, what was the hope that the feeling people would get when they see the collection that you created?
So, like, it's called the Divine Feminine because the Divine Feminine is essentially a spiritual concept that surrounds traits like courage, resilience, beauty, things like that. Most of the traits are often associated with women, but they are found within everybody. So when people see, like, my collection and see these pieces, I want them to, like, once they try and, like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like depending on the person, they're going to take it's going to resonate with them differently, and that's exactly what I want. Like, I want some people to see themselves in certain pieces, and I want different pieces to resonate with them based on the description, or maybe not based on the description.
Yeah, for sure. Like, every experience is going to be unique to the individual experiencing it, right?
Yes.
Depending on who they are, where they come from, the life that they've had, where they are in their life, and how they consume something will be completely different for each individual.
Yes.
Do you think of art, your art specifically, having a larger impact rather than just the aesthetic of it? Obviously, you want it to look nice and, be hung up, but have a bigger impact of that, or do you think through that, or is that will happen naturally?
I definitely think, like, when I'm creating art, I want it to be more than just, like, a beautiful piece to put on your wall. Like, I feel like when I look at art, at least, and I feel like an emotional connection to what I'm looking at, I'm more drawn to it, and it becomes even more beautiful in my eyes. So when I'm creating art, like, when I have had exhibitions and showcases, I like to ask the people looking at it, like, what do you think of it? Like, does it speak to you? And I love just hearing, like, their own interpretation of my art. And I feel like it also builds a sense of community because it becomes like a conversation, and it can lead to deeper conversations, friendships, relationships, things like that. So aside from just visual aesthetic, I definitely think that the emotional connection that people have to their art you create is extremely important.
I love it. And so we have art and commerce, art and business, which I love both those things. So when did the business launch officially?
Officially, I don't remember an exact date, but I finished the collection last summer.
Okay.
And my website was officially launched in around February, so pretty recently.
Yeah. So I'm sure you've probably learned lots, and you will continue to learn lots. Any insights on kind of branding, marketing, pricing, how you think through that?
So my dad is basically like my manager, so he teaches me like everything business related. One thing that I took away, like a major thing, was that I feel like I was underpricing myself a lot. Like, originally I wanted to make like just posters of my art to put up on your wall, like maybe $30, $40. But my dad, like, he supports me through everything, and he told me, like, you have so much potential, but when you undercut yourself, people are going to see you as like cheap and your products as cheap. And something that's cheap is not necessarily as meaningful and as impactful as something that's higher value. And it's not just about pricing it higher to make money. It's kind of an investment because, for example, like, if somebody were to buy, you know who Basquiat is, right? Mm-hmm. If someone were to buy like a Basquiat painting when he was like 17, my age, and time came now, a painting would appreciate in value way more. So what I'm kind of trying to let people know when they buy my things is that it's not just about like the money for me. It's about like having a piece of art that's meaningful to you, and it can appreciate in value. It's like an investment, I like to say.
Because you're going to continue to grow and evolve. Definitely. And the value creation will continue.
Definitely.
So is it, from the business standpoint, and this could also change too, is it just the original pieces that you're doing, or are you going to do maybe a series of original pieces and then do like a canvas type drop, or how do you think about that? Do you think about that? That's just me being interested of, like, you spend all this time on an original piece, and obviously the original is the top tier one. That's where all the hours go into. But then maybe the duplication of that, but still in a nice, like, medium, call it a canvas or even a framed one too? Or is it just we're selling originals and originals only?
Well, actually, like, I feel like since this is like my first like big collection, it's the art that most people have seen from me. I haven't sold originals. I don't want to sell those yet. Okay. So all the pieces that I sell are like G clay prints, which is like museum grade, archival. So the one that Lena actually has is a print, and then it's framed, and it has the mat.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I see. Smart to keep those originals. What else should I ask on that? Well, I think you're in a very. I guess another question. This is my like business mind thinking through it. from like a marketing standpoint, how do you think of that?
Like, how do I market my things?
Yeah.
So I'm learning how to like use like Instagram, and well, I know how to use Instagram, but I need to.
There's a difference of knowing how to use it as a consumer and using it as a creator.
Yes, definitely. So I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok account, and I turn them to business accounts. And sometimes I work with this guy named Hattie, who's a photographer, a videographer, and he's like kind of like a pro at like social media. So for the NACA event, actually, he shot a couple of videos and I turned them into reels. And he told me like times to post, things like that. So for the social media aspect, I'm kind of learning as I go and trying to build my followers that way. And then for the like in-person connection, I'm trying my best to like submit my art to like as many things as possible, as many exhibitions. Actually, for a Women's Day last Sunday, I was at an event by the Jamaican Caribbean Association, and they had like vendor tables, so I had my whole collection out that way, handing out business cards, obviously just word of mouth. Like, I'm a pretty shy person, but I feel like when art comes into conversation, I let them know like what I'm doing, let them know that they can support me, just things like that.
Yeah. My advice would be document as much as you can.
Yes.
Like, just set up the camera while you're working on the art. Yes. Even if it goes nowhere, it's like you have it in the vault for at a future time too. And think about when you consume TikTok, when you come across artists, like the time lapse of what takes like hours and hours, and being able to see it in 45 seconds is like crazy.
Yes.
So that would be my, what's the timeline for a piece? Like, is it 10 hours? Is it 100 hours? Or
I feel like it really depends on like how much time I put in every day. Like, do I have school? Am I studying?
Yeah.
Because balancing like school, art, and everything else in my life is kind of hectic sometimes. So I do most of my art, say like Friday nights, weekends, during like March break now, summertime. But for my collection, it was like strictly during summertime. So I spent maybe like 3 hours daily. I probably took like 2 weeks to get one done, I would say so. But now I have a little bit less time, so probably would take longer.
I'm just thinking, imagine that YouTube video. It's like 17 hours long.
I know.
It would work. It would work, really. You know, just put some music on it or have no music, because it's always evolving of how people consume on it. And sometimes like the ones that are way out there, they actually work. So what's coming up next? What do you got going on next? Keeping the momentum going, and what's up next?
So I'm hoping to get in more exhibitions, obviously. Actually, yesterday I had a meeting with a worker from City of Markham who actually found me from one of my articles online. She said that she wanted me to work with City of Markham to have like kind of an art tour where I would set up different venues and kind of have like opening ceremonies and just share my art throughout Markham. So that should happen sometime in summer, so I'm really excited for that. And then art-wise, I said that I wanted to kind of turn the collection to a 3-part collection. So I have my first part, I'm going to be working on my second part and third part, but I'm not going to say too much right now, but it'll be coming soon, definitely.
I love it. And do you know what an NFT is?
Kind of, but not too much.
Yeah, I would wait for it to progress a little bit, but I think it could be a good thing to attach to if you're going to be building this out for the next forever. What's the ultimate goal? What's for it? Like 5, 10, 15, 20 years? I know that you're only 17 years old, so it's hard to think that far in advance, but if you could paint a picture for your life and where this goes, what would you like it to look like?
Well, for the next little bit, like for university-wise, I'm going to Western to study studio arts and for Ivy Business, because Ivy has a program where you can do like a dual degree in 5 years. So like my first 2 years would be studio arts, second 2 years would be Ivy, then finish off with another studio arts program for the dual degree. So I get like the arts and the business. And then after that, I would want to do like kind of like a master program for like digital art and design, because I noticed that most art's going digitally. I still love character design, so I would love to do like character design with like big companies like Pixar, Disney, things like that, to just enjoy my work and also make my money. And then the end goal, I would actually really love to like open up my own gallery. I love to shine spotlights on people who feel like underrepresented, because I know like in my school and in my area I'm in, I definitely feel that a lot, and I know what it's like to be an artist kind of facing those challenges. So I would love to have a gallery and amplify that, and then with each like sale they get, galleries take a percentage of that, so that would also be a way of income. And I just hope that I can get myself out there enough to be able to sell pieces for good amount of money to support myself that way. But I definitely see art in my future.
Absolutely. Probably when you go down that road, maybe on the digital side, that's when you'll come across NFT.
Yes.
And when you said the gallery, I'm like, oh, you'll be finished school, you'll be all dialed in. The VR will be so good. You'll be able to do like a straight VR gallery where you can invite anyone in the world to come in and look at it and sell the digital pieces in there. I'm sure like the art world is going to get even bigger and even crazier because the tech is kind of following behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's do a quick rapid fire before we get out of here.
Okay.
What's your favorite piece of art you've ever created?
My favorite piece of art I've ever created is, besides my collection, is probably a piece called Pieces of Me. So it was like a 2-part art it was like two paintings that we had to do for school in grade 11, and it has to represent like something about us. So my theme was like transformation and growing up. So my first piece was like my face on like the perfect body, perfect skin, and how I felt influenced by all external like forms of media telling me like what I should and shouldn't be. The second piece, which is the one is my favorite, is like a picture of my face, and it's like ripping off the background images of like the external influences to uncover like pictures of my family and friends and people whose like soul I find beautiful, as opposed to like physical beauty.
You're very insightful. Who do you have these conversations with? Your family, or do you have friends that are on the same level as you?
I would say mostly my family.
Yeah.
Or if not my family, like my best friend. But I also do a lot of like journaling. So whenever I like feel like strong emotions, I just turn it into words, and I turn the words into sketches and so on.
Love it. Who's your biggest artistic inspiration?
I don't really know. Like, I get asked this question a lot, but I feel like I'm the type of person where like I can't give you one definite answer, because I'll go to like the Art Gallery of Ontario and I'll be like, I really love this piece, and I'll draw inspiration and have love for like every single piece of art I see, and I kind of implement little things from everything into my own art. So I don't really know if I have a specific answer for that one.
Just dial into the world. Everything is art. Everything is designed. If you could only use one color in your artwork for a year, what would it be?
Probably blue, just because blue is my favorite color.
Love it. Dream location to display your work?
I don't have like a dream place, like a building, but I would say somewhere like tropical, like Hawaii. I'd love to have like an exhibition in Hawaii on the beach, because I love the beach.
Love that. And this is tough, but one word that describes your artistic style?
I would say empowering.
Nice. It's hard to answer stuff in one word. Okay, final thoughts from you. Anything that you want to leave with the listeners? Any message for whoever's watching? Yes. Inspirational words maybe for future artists?
Definitely. I have like a message that I want to get across to like youth creatives, especially because I feel like teenagehood is a time where you kind of suppress being yourself because you want other people to agree with you, to like you, things like that. Like, I know definitely growing up for me, it was kind of, there was a lot of doubts in everything I did because I wanted to be liked and accepted. But I think authenticity is like one of the greatest gifts that you can give to the world, because there's nobody like you. And if you want to be like everyone else, like, are you really living your life in a way? So I think that being young and being impressionable is just extremely important to stand your ground and know your worth and know what you're capable of, because I promise you there will be people telling you that you can't do this because you're so young. Like, for example, me, whenever I'm with my parents at exhibitions, nobody thinks that I did it. They always ask my mom if she did it or my dad if he did it first, because I think when you're young, you're kind of put into a box of what you can and can't do. But as long as you keep working hard and doing what you find joy in, you'll definitely go places.
Love that. Yeah. don't go seeking validation from the external world. It's an internal game.
Definitely.
Okay, where can people find you? Website, social, shout yourself out.
So all my social media handles are Ava Jasmine Artistry, and my website is avajasmineartistry.com.
Okay, we'll put all the links in. Check it out. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.